whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight hour. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby.
Welcome to the October 29th Ordinance Committee Meeting. Ms. Crisante, if you'd call the roll, please.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Present.
Councilmember Sneddon is absent. We have Mayor Rouse sitting in. Mayor Rouse.
Here.
And Chair Jordan.
And here.
Thank you.
We'll open up public comment for items that are not on today's agenda. I don't see any in the building. Anything else online?
No one online.
Okay. So then we'll move on. If you would set us up for our first item, please. Our
Today
only
we'll be
item.
discussing amending Chapter 18.40 of the Municipal Code pertaining to airport police and enforcement.
Okay. Must be Madam City Administrator. Nobody else wants to come up to the table. Oh, Mr. Doimus. I'm sorry. Okay. Take it away.
That's fine, Chair. Afternoon, committee. I'm here, happy to present a amendment to 1840 regarding airport patrol. Also with us today is obviously Director Hastert, Chief Gordon, and Assistant Chief Kushner, too, for any questions. So we'd be happy to answer. Okay, let me clicker. Hold on. Oh, it's off. That's why I got it. So today we're talking about amending 1840 in the Municipal Code regarding airport patrol. And we'll discuss the reasons for it. First, I'll give a little bit of background. So the Airport Patrol serves as a law enforcement division of the airport. They are peace officers under the California Penal Code, 830.33D. Their designation for years, though, have been under the Memorandum of Understanding with TAP. TAP stands for Treatment and Patrol. They're part of that bargaining unit. And so one of the important things, too, in terms of making sure they keep that designation is that designation having the ability to have the power to arrest. And that's also needed under federal law. Any type of airport security, airport police force must have the power to arrest under federal law. So if you recall, a couple weeks ago, we brought in Harbor. We're able to have Harbor Patrol, now designated our Harbor's Navigation Code, have the ability to detain and let our police department effectuate the arrest. In this case, what's different is because of federal law, our airport patrol officers must carry that ability. So with that background in mind, Senate Bill 2 took effect, I think you're all familiar with, in January 2022, and it really created a huge change, landmark change in law enforcement in the state of California. It created a kind of a centralized, regulated oversight through the Commission of Peace Officer and Standards Post, the acronym for that. Kind of creates a regulatory agency for them, kind of like a state bar, analogous to lawyers, how you'd look at that. And all peace officers classified under the California Penal Code, which Airport Patrol is, must hold a valid and current post certificate. It had various reporting requirements that are needed yearly to submit to post, and also allows for post to decertify an officer to not let them be a law enforcement agency throughout the state if they are decertified. Post now is a member agency. Airport Patrol is now a member agency of Post. And so when we looked at this bill, as I get into policy considerations, we knew this was coming on the horizon. A couple years ago, the police department, the city, did a review of Airport Patrol. And we looked at that, and Airport Patrol received high marks in terms of their service, their ability, their job performance, their morale, everything else. But One of the things we learned in this review, it's been a long time coming, is, with post coming, with SB2 and all these requirements, they needed more support, more resources. You're talking about a handful, 12 or less airport patrol officers. How do they conduct internal investigations? How do they meet these reporting requirements? How do they get the administrative help to do that? Their certification trainings. There are all these areas that this review pointed out where they needed, needed resources and support when we're doing this. And so that was some of the policy considerations we were looking at that. And a lot of credit goes to Director Hastert and Chief Gordon and all the members of the airport and police department have been working on this over the last few years to kind of work on this flow of providing these resources in preparation of becoming a post-member agency, in preparation of SB2 requirements, and trying to figure out as we're going through this, what is the best procedure, the best way to facilitate providing the support needed for airport patrol. And this ordinance is a reflection of that work effort. So first we looked at best practices is before airport patrol was a post-participating agency. We decided best practice, if you're going to have a California Penal Code law enforcement, just like the police department, is you actually have a post-member agency, not a participating agency. So now just in the last 2 months, we become a member agency. This ordinance also allows, because this ordinance changes where the police chief is the kind of oversees airport patrol, it also allows the police department to share and provide additional resources to airport patrol. Over the last year and a half, we've had a sergeant stationed with airport patrol, assisting them on updating policies, procedures. We've learned that flow. That will continue on as part of this ordinance change. We've also did this, as I said, sharing resources by improving our reporting requirements, establishing internal affairs for airport patrol, body cams, updating our certification training and requirements. All this has been facilitated by a combined effort of airport patrol and the police department. The other part to be clear too, when this changes come, airport patrol members can't be transferred to the police department because they have a specific designation and they cannot operate in other parts of the city. So their jurisdiction's strictly limited to airport grounds. So when we look at that, the ordinance changes, here are the main, it's not extensive, but there are some important ones, right? We met and conferred with the union, as we were required to do, because it was a change in job conditions, because airport patrol is going to be under the supervision of the police chief. So that's the first thing. It designates now, instead of through an MOU, it designates it through the Municipal Code, which Post also required, that they are 833.D police officers under the Muni Code, so it's not through an MOU anymore. It continues to allow airport patrol officers to carry firearms as a condition of their employment. That authority is given through the police chief, as well as now they have the power to effectuate arrests. It also now provides the airport is now patrol as part of Post. There's one thing we left off that we want to bring to council. Municipal Code Chapter 2.12 states they are participating agency. We're going to have to strike through that section so we're not conflicting. They are now a member agency. And there's another update in there outside of airport patrol. It allows non-airport patrol officers or employees, not officers, to issue like parking citations or anything else. We needed to update the proper code sections on that. So if you call, like, look at a security aid parking in a red zone, something like that, they're able to issue citations for that. So we wanted to do some cleanup language. So those are the main changes of the ordinance. It's, again, the big picture here is looking at it is where the police department and airport patrol are cooperating, have been establishing this wonderful relationship in the last year and a half, where the police department is sharing resources that our airport patrol feels extremely supported by us, and they have all the necessary tools to continue to succeed in that job. And that's why it's important, if you have any questions, that Director Hastert and Chief Gordon can also answer. And so with that, that's my presentation. We're open for questions.
Questions from committee members? Mayor Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Perhaps a question for Chief Gordon. Chief, recognizing they've had somebody embedded out there for some time now, are there more resources than required? Do we have to add anything to PD for this to be ongoing?
We don't need to add anything to PD. What we've done is the airport is paying for the cost of that sergeant's position, which allows us then to backfill within the PD. So we're not taking away from PD in order to do this. That PD position comes out of There's a transfer of funds into the police department for that. So we don't need to add any additional resources into PD in order to make this successful. We've been assisting them with hiring as part of our process, internal affairs. You know, the difference is they're not doing a lot of that in comparison to what we do, so it's not a huge work pill for us to do this, and we've been successfully doing it and getting them established with body cam and getting them into our reporting system and other things. So for us, this is the last piece of actually doing the ordinance to get what we need for post and the legalities of what we're doing.
So no impacts on patrol strength or anything along those lines?
No, the airport patrol, you know, will be evaluating what they need in terms of their numbers overall, you know, moving forward. And as all things airport, I don't want to speak on Director Hassert's behalf, but there'll be other things that'll be, you know, come after this and looking at what the appropriate staffing is out there with airport patrol. But airport patrol officers are a very, very valuable resource and asset to the city. And their job function, although they're peace officers, they do something different than what SBPD officers do, and we respect that and know that, and that's why this relationship works very, very well.
Thank you.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chief. So when it comes to the PD helicopter, is that a police officer that's operating the helicopter, or is it airport patrol?
We don't have a police helicopter in this city.
Gotcha.
If we need the resource of a police helicopter, we call the sheriff's department.
Oh, so they're the ones in charge of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the county has a combined program between fire and police, and that's who provides air support services when we request it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple. So prior to this change, who were these officers? What was the structure? Who were they answering to?
They had an airport supervisor position.
Okay.
That was a sworn position.
So it was just a little tight group, unique
Yes.
group by
Correct.
itself? Okay.
Yes.
And then this comment on the slide that you can't operate in other parts of the city, so I'll just throw a, really? So you have something that happens in the airport, say in the parking lot, starts in terminal, gets out into the parking lot, somebody runs across whatever that is, either Fowler or Fairview, and starts scaling the fence into Montecito Water District. We can't, those people cannot pursue that person. They run into an invisible wall out there at the end of the airport.
They can pursue out there in terms of, that's in exigent circumstances in terms of that particular, and if you look at the boundaries of the airport, you know, they go slightly outside of not just the airfield.
Okay,
So there's pieces out there that are included. It's actually kind of a complicated map when you look at it.
okay. So it doesn't really mean you cannot, it just means there's no, you're not dragging a couple down there when you're short-staffed here into other parts of
Correct.
the
We
city.
can't take an airport police officer to
Your function
supplement.
still includes whatever's going on there.
Yes.
And they can step over that invisible line of off the airport land if they have
Yes.
to.
And we can, as we do now, respond out there if they need additional resources. Like, we had a domestic out in front of the terminal a couple weeks ago, and our officers responded out there to assist because they have very minimal staffing out there. And they have different requirements that require them to be in the building with TSA and other pieces. So that's where the improved communication and all the pieces just make it better for the community and all of our passengers that go in and out of the airport, and the resources that Airport Patrol gets and the additional training that they're getting out of this.
And will the oversight now, so to speak, I'll just in broad terms, fall into a role with the Fire and Police Commission?
No.
No?
If you look at the ordinance is very specific to Santa Barbara Police Department. That does not include the Santa Barbara Airport Patrol. They are a separate entity.
And so if you had some item like that occur with this group on the airport grounds that would prompt that anywhere else in the city, what happens to that situation?
So that situation, if we get a complaint, which we have out at the airport, then we still use our professional standards unit to do the entire investigation.
Okay.
It gets reviewed all the way up through Assistant Chief Kushner and myself, and then goes back over to the airport.
Okay, good.
So, but there is, through this, that's what we're using. You know, they might get one a year where we get several more. We have the expertise in the investigators, so that's part of this, is that we do that.
Okay, thanks. I don't have anything else, so we'll open public comment if anybody in the room.
Chair Jordan, we do not have public comment in person or online.
Okay, Thank you. So it's back to the committee for discussion and a motion. Mr. Mayor.
I will move staff recommendation that we move this on to council.
Second.
All right, sounds good to me. Ms. Crisante, if you'll walk us through a vote, please.
So moved by Mayor Rouse, seconded by Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez to move staff recommendation that the Ordinance Committee will forward ordinance amendments to City Council for introduction and adoption. Ready to take a vote?
Yes. Okay, that passes unanimously. And we have no other items, so we will be adjourned. Thank you to staff and everybody else for dragging us through that long process there.